Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, we're going to go ahead and break down the market, break down what has happened over the last 2 days, and talk about whether I think the market has found a short-term bottom. Now, as you guys know, if you watch my videos, I'm not someone that likes to make bold claims. So I'm never going to say market has bottomed, market has not bottomed. But what I'm going to share with you guys are the reasons why we are moving higher, share with you guys the price action, the shift in sentiment on this market, and the overall technical analysis as to why this market has found a short-term upside move, and talk a little bit why I think this could continue, and also where we have to hold to make sure that it doesn't break down once again. So we have to judge this off our technicals, have to judge this off price action, and have to make educated decisions here. When there's opportunity, you have to strike, and the market definitely presented opportunity last week. You guys know we flatlined all last week. We found some support. We started to make higher highs. And when you start to see that, you have to take the risk to reward, which was clearly presenting itself. As you guys know, I'm sitting in some call options on Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, as well as on Walmart. And those have all been fantastic this week, hoping to see more upside, hoping to make sure to go ahead and lock in those profits. So today, we're going to break down the NASDAQ, break down the ES, the S&P 500, and talk a little bit about some of the swing trades that I'm in and why I decided to go bullish on some of these trades. If you guys enjoyed today's video after watching it, make sure to press that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, so we're going to start this video off with a nice, fresh, clean chart of the S&P 500. No drawings, no nothing. And I'm going to walk you through why I decided to play upside last week. What did I see? What was making me interested to try to put some risk on the table to play some upside, and why I believed there could be some upside into this week. There was a lot of technical reasons. There was a lot of holds, key levels that made me believe that we were starting to find at least some type of bottom that was making me willingly put on some risk. I was willing to put on some risk here to the upside, something that of course I am okay losing. So in the scenario that I was in, I said, okay, I have a X amount that I'm willing to lose. I see why I would look for upside. If it does not work out, I will take my loss. But I believe in this scenario, my risk to reward is very high. And when I see high risk to reward setups, I have to take them. Whether I am right or whether I am wrong, those are the times that I have to strike, because those are the times where you can get your greatest gain for the risk that you put on. So here on the S&P 500 chart, I was watching this very key level here right around $4,300. Now, $4,300, why is it important? The last time we were at 4,300, we found an inverse head and shoulders and the market spiked off of it. So right here back in October and September, this was the previous low that the S&P 500 bounced off of. Now, with that in mind, I was looking at what was going on last week. All last week, it was showing it to us, right? We had these very strong wicks to the upside, and the market would not sell off below 4,300. So that itself, before we saw this move, you guys saw my video on Friday of last week. I got into some bullish swing trades. Why did I do that? This was a major reason behind it. The market would not sell off below these previous lows where the market bounced from last September and October. So if we break this down a little bit closer and we look at this hold here, look at what the S&P 500 did last week, right? Look at this quadruple bottom, I guess you could call it, or basically a week-long hold at this 4,300. We moved lower, we bounced. 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 And this level just did not give up. Now, besides that level not giving up, what else changed last week from the weeks prior? If you guys look at what's happened over the last, say, 3 weeks to a month, you are going to see that before we held this level here at 4,300, what was the market doing, right? The market between the 5th of January and around the 24th of January, so almost about 20 days, we were continuously making lower lows and lower highs, right? Every time we tried to hold a particular bottom, we fell below it. Every time we tried to hold a bottom, we fell below it. So that was the status quo, right? That's what the market was doing. It was not holding bottoms, and it was making lower highs and lower lows, and the price action was very weak. Now, What we all need to realize that happened last week was there was a sentiment change in the market. There was a technical hold here, and we were no longer making lower lows, right? We were not making those lower lows. We were actually holding up at a key level. We were creating somewhat of a channel between this 4,300 and this 4,420. I like to even call it up to 4,450. We were starting to create that channel, upside resistance and downside support. Now, with that in mind, I said, hey, we're no longer making lower lows. We are now holding a key level back from October, and I now have a very good risk to reward, because if I take a trade here in this choppy area, then I know that if we do break these lows, then I'm going to get out for a loss because there is no longer a hold happening. However, if I am right here, the risk to reward is very high because there is a ton of upside to recover that we have seen over the last few weeks. Now, as you guys can see, yesterday we did break above this resistance point on the ES, and today we get another very nice continuation with the help of some very good earnings from Google, AMD. Those were the two big ones. PayPal reported not very good, and then we also had, who else did we have? So nothing too big across the board besides AMD and Google, which are the two biggest ones and the two that actually perform very well. And that is why you are seeing this push higher in the after hours right now. But what I want to get across here on the ES is why the sentiment changed and why I decided to go bullish, because of the no longer lower lows being made, because of the very technical key hold at 4,300 and the push higher. And these are the opportunities that I try to get across in my videos, and the people in my trading community, these types of opportunities are the ones that I love to take advantage of, because these are the ones that require very little risk, dollar amount risk, to make a very large percentage point gain. You do not need to put in a lot of money here to make a lot of money, because you have a good risk to reward. Your risk is these lows, and your reward is potentially on a longer term dated option back to the highs. Now, I'm not saying we're going back to the highs. That's not a claim that I am making, but at least you know that you have good risk to reward on a longer dated option contract, like the ones that I took on Apple, like the ones that I took on Microsoft. So moving forward, right? What do we need to do moving forward to hold this higher? What does the market need to hold to make sure that we continue to sort of creep higher here? Well, at the very least, the market cannot break back below 44.25 here. You can probably call this a little bit of a range between 44.50 to 44.20. It's not an exact line here. It's more of a range. The market cannot break back below. We do not want to see the ES break back down into this choppy zone down here between 4,300 and let's just say 44.50. If the market breaks back down within this chop, then I would agree with people that are looking for downside. We are probably going to slip again. That is a must hold. We do not want to see this. If we do pull back, we want to see this. We want to see a break and retest. So that is the number one key thing for you guys moving forward over the next few weeks. If you're watching the ES, you have to see a hold at these previous highs. You do not want to see us break back down below these levels. If you see that, then I would say market probably slips. But as long as you are above this level, the market is making higher highs and higher lows, and that is an indication of an uptrend. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the NASDAQ, and I'm going to show you guys something very similar here, right? So I'm going to go to the daily chart, and we're going to start there for the analysis. Now, what you guys can see on the NASDAQ is that we moved that back down to a very key level as well. We had this previous 13,850 level where we had resistance, and you guys can see we found very nice support. Now, the NASDAQ was doing the exact same thing as the S&P 500 last week. If we zoom into this chart, we can see that we are no longer making lower lows, and all of last week, we held this very nice key level. So right here in this area, you guys can see we made this very nice bottom, and we did not want to sell off below 13,850. Now, when I saw that, which correlated to the ES, I can draw that same channel, and I can say, if the market does pop above this channel, then there should be some type of squeeze to the upside. Why is that true? Because the market is engulfing this previous price action, and you are getting a squeeze back to the upside. All of the short sellers that are in this market between this 14,550 and 13,850, they do not want to see the stock or the market above this level. That is their point where there is more upside that is potential. They do not want to see the market jump above these previous highs because that is most likely where a lot of their stop losses were set. So if you get a push above that level, there is absolutely opportunity for a short-term upside because of the appearance of these technicals showing that that is breaking out of that certain level. So you guys can see, very nice little channel. We broke above that channel on Monday yesterday, and we get that continuation after that breakout and after that higher high is built, right? Higher high, higher low, and we start to have an indication of an uptrend. So Friday is when I took my plays, right on this day here. Why did I get in on Friday? I'll reiterate it. The risk to reward was there because I knew that we were starting to push higher. I knew that this support was in. I knew that support was there. The market was telling me that. I wasn't going to let emotions get in my way of seeing this chart and knowing that there was support at that level, right? That was very easy to read. Very strong support down at 13,850. I have to take an opportunity here because if I am right, the risk to reward is great. If I am wrong, I get stopped out below these lows. It's a very structured trade with good risk to reward. Where do I think this market can go to, right? Where is the key that we need to see if this market can actually go back to highs? First of all, you never want to say that market can go back to highs on a one swoop return. It's always going to be probably, a little bit of a bounce and then a little pullback and then maybe another bounce, right? I don't think the market just goes straight up from here. There's going to be some pullbacks, absolutely. The first level that I'm watching is basically where the NASDAQ is right now, guys. And you can see we have these previous highs at here's the ES at 45.50. You guys can see that right here, right? So you have this previous high on the ES at 45.50. You have the previous low and you have the previous low. There probably will be some resistance in this area. We have the 100 SMA. We have previous support that will most likely turn into resistance here now that we have pushed back into it. That is the next key level I'm watching, $4,550. If we break through that, then this market's definitely on a little bit of a streak here if we are able to get through that resistance as well. On the NASDAQ, we're going to see something very similar. So on the NASDAQ, we are most likely wanting to see a break above this 15,560. If we get a push into that level, I'm going to assume there is some resistance, right? So this is a very similar level as the ES right here, 15,600. You guys can see previous resistance right here, previous support, and that is most likely where this market maybe stalls if we get a little bit more upside. So I am watching 15,600 on the NASDAQ, and I am watching 45.50 on the ES. And we can see the ES is clearly outperforming right now. We'll see if the NASDAQ catches up. We'll see if this market can continue. But the main thing I wanted to go over in this video and make sure you guys were aware of is why we bounced. And that is because of the change in sentiment, the change in price action last week that held this key level and started to break to the upside this week after breaking the top of this channel. So with that said, let's go ahead and just jump into the 4 trades that I have on right now to the upside. The first one is NVIDIA. I took NVIDIA yesterday because I was trying to play some AMD sympathy. It's a little bit of a risky trade, and that is why I only put $320 in it. But I got into that with that NVIDIA because, one, I didn't want to play AMD with the expected move with all of that going on. I wanted to see if I could play the sympathy move. So I got into NVIDIA after seeing a very key level break, and that was 240. So you guys can see on NVIDIA, this chart is identical to the NASDAQ, right? We have that channel high and we have that low. Now, what you can see after NVIDIA broke 240, what did it do today? It held 240 as support. That was huge. When I saw NVIDIA hold 240 today as support, I was very confident on the upside because we are turning previous resistance into support. We are breaking out of this channel. We are break and retesting right there, and we get that push higher. I'm assuming these NVIDIA contracts are going to be up very nicely tomorrow. That is my first trade I am in. Walmart. As you guys know, I'm in some Walmart swing trades. Why did I take it? I talked about it in my Friday video. We have this beautiful little quad bottom here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Trusting the technicals. Trusting that overall market could have some upside after holding that support all last week. And I got into Walmart. Very nice upside. I'll go ahead and post the P&L on your charts. The next one are two longer dated options that I am in. The first one are some Apple April 180 calls. Why did I take Apple? I saw this beautiful hold at 156. I also felt like the market was going to push higher after holding last week. And what stock moves the most with the overall NASDAQ market? What stock has outperformed tremendously over the last year? Apple. Apple's the one that always performs, and I wanted to get some exposure there. Apple is now only 4.5% off all-time highs. Last but not least, Microsoft, the one that's lagging the most for me right now. I figured Microsoft would have a little bit more of a reaction to this upside on the market, but it really has not. It's been definitely a little bit weak. I did take it after seeing this 280 hold, looking for that upside. I do believe Microsoft can continue if this overall market does, but there are some things that are holding this down, it seems. Microsoft has been relatively weak, but we'll see what happens. So I am in Microsoft. I'll keep you guys updated. I am red on it right now. I'll go ahead and post it up on your screen as well. So guys, I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it clears up why this market is bouncing. Did we find a bottom? I am not too sure. Am I going to continue to play what the price action is telling me? Absolutely. Right now, it's telling me upside, and I'm going to follow that trend. If I start to see us reject, if I start to see us weaken, if we start to make lower lows and lower highs, then we'll have to change the sentiment. The volatility is here to stay, but right now, I can see why the market is bouncing. It was very clear, and congratulations to anyone that took it. If you enjoyed today's video, press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.